Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. How's my mic? Thank you. What's up, Purdue? Nice. Thanks, Derek. Your support means more than you know. What's up, Derek? Promised you guys an update on the Apple River stabbing case. And the plot thickens. What's up, Marlo? Teresa? You should try to sneak out of there early. Fire in the bowl. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Sleuth Intuition Live. Derek, at any point, if you would like to join me, I did send you a call-in link. Sorry I didn't give you any heads up, but feel free to join at any point. How's everybody doing on this fine Thursday? D, Eminem, been sleuthing. Okay. Oh, for sure. It's always 420 over here. What's up, Bird Blue? Good to see you. Yeah, at any point, man. If you need to kill some time or have any opinions on anything we're talking about, feel free. I sent a link to Bill as well. I don't know what he's up to, but if at any point he joins us, should be a pretty decent stream. I want to spend some time on this Apple River case because it's really strange how the story has developed. It seems like he may have a self-defense case there. Not much of a case, but I mean, it's there. A lot of new developments. What's up, Frank? Hey, what's up, Jim? Shout out to Seattle. Yeah, and Don, I wanted to get back to your question. You make a good point. Don says he waded 100 yards through waist-deep water to attack them. If that's true, I don't see self-defense. Yeah, it seems the story is a little bit different than originally reported. He didn't wade 100 yards to attack. He waded 100 yards to escape after attacking. And we'll get into that, and after you have all the facts, I'll kind of loop back to that question. What's up, Tommy? TTM, Purdue. All right, all caught up with the chat. Let's get into it.
We have new detailed account of what may have led up to a deadly stabbing on the Apple River that left a Stillwater High School student dead.
4 other people were stabbed too, and just a few hours ago, the man police say did it faced a judge. This is the suspect. His name is Nick Miu from Prior Lake, Minnesota. Our Lou Goose joins us now with more on what happened today in court.
Well, Lauren and Rena, the judge set bail at $1 million. Today, we learned that there's a key piece of evidence in this case, a video capturing part of what happened. The defendant says it was self-defense.
We have 5 victims.
What's up, Blind Squirrel?
One of whom is deceased.
Appearing through video from jail, the accused killer in the Apple River stabbing saw a judge.
Do you understand the charges and the maximum possible penalties?
Yes, sir.
Nick Miu could face mandatory life in prison if convicted of first-degree intentional homicide in the death of 17-year-old Stillwater incoming senior Isaac Schuman.
Law enforcement will have to do a lot of investigation and sorting out in this matter, but there are
apparently two sides to the story.
That's Miu's attorney, referring to these details in the criminal complaint. Miu told police he was separated from his group looking for his friend's missing cell phone with a snorkel and goggles. He approached one group to see if they found it, and they started calling him a child molester. The complaint says that interaction and the beginning of the confrontation and attack are captured on video. After the group is yelling at Miu to leave, he's seen on video opening a knife and exposing the blade. Multiple people converge toward him. He's slapped and shoved into the water several times before stabbing a young man in the abdomen. Another video shows people fleeing from Miu as he holds the knife. St. Croix County Sheriff Scott Knutson says Miu then returned to his group and tubed the rest of the way. He was arrested after his photo was distributed and a park worker recognized him.
Fair to say that he didn't seek out an officer to try to report what had happened or anything like that.
We approached him.
And so a couple other interesting points from the court papers. Miu claimed that he wrestled the knife from someone in that group, but then it can be seen clipped to his pocket in the video before he pulled it out. And he never told anyone in his group, including his wife, what had happened. Now, his court hearing is coming up later this month. Back to you.
Yeah, that's definitely suspect. But I mean, for some reason, when I think about Delphi, I always think like if this guy gets busted, it's going to be doing something weird. You know what I mean? Like, apparently he had scuba gear, and he told law enforcement that he went back to try to recover a cell phone for one of his friends. But the group that he had an altercation with accused him of basically kind of being like an underwater peeping Tom or creeping on the young children. Now, I don't know if that was just because there was a separate altercation, and you know how people just start saying stuff, you know. So they kind of give us a little bit more of the story, and it sounds like maybe a woman had a problem with this person, made the accusation, and then apparently he punched her in the face. That was according to witnesses, but that part wasn't caught on the video. But witnesses say, yes, for sure, that's what started it all. And then they started videotaping, like, what the hell's going on over here? And then all the men, or the teenage boys and men that were there, started approaching him, this guy. And that's when he pulled a knife from the side of his, from his side there. Isn't that crazy? But to me, if we're looking for Bridge Guy and we're waiting for him to mess up again, this kind of, doesn't this fit the MO? Like thinking he can just attack somebody in the middle of the day and just kind of slip away? Because he left that group. He was with his wife. He was with his friends. Both groups separated. They never had any problem. They didn't even communicate. One group stopped up the river while the other continued down. Well, he decided to put on his scuba gear and come up and start searching for the phone. So technically he did wade up there, you know. He did go back upstream. So I guess technically you're right, Don. But it wasn't an ambush like we, previously seemed it may have been an ambush. Well, what kind of person in broad daylight goes out and potentially is doing like some type of weird voyeurism underwater with scuba gear? Like, to me, that fits the mentality, right? Some guy creeping on a bridge, using a ruse or something, I don't know. I'm just being open-minded. Maybe it's a reach. Let's continue on.
Day after a man was charged with murder for stabbing a teen there over the weekend.
Fox 9's Rob Olson joins us live now. So, Rob, what is the overall feeling out there today? Well, the feeling certainly is one of a somber mood along the Apple River. You know, for such a warm day outside, surprisingly quiet on the cool river. Is that because it's a Tuesday? Is that because of what happened on Saturday? The sheriff this weekend provided the context that, you know, in all his years, he hadn't seen anything like this. One of the major tubing operators here today telling me the same thing. They rarely see any sort of problems on the river, and certainly not anything like this.
We love it here.
What's up, Pam?
We just love it here.
After moving to Somerset a year ago for a change of pace and change of scenery,
We just wanted a smaller community and someplace that was more peaceful.
Eileen Peters on Tuesday finally made her first trip down the Apple River in a tube with family. And for an excessive heat kind of day, the cool river was pretty quiet. Only a few others out floating. She wondered if people had been scared away.
It's like you got to live life. You can't sit there and live in fear all your life.
Eileen, though, says the mood around Somerset remains somber because of what happened Saturday. 17-year-old Isaac Schuman of Stillwater fatally stabbed and 4 others injured. 52-year-old Nick Miu of Prior Lake now charged with murder and attempted murder and claiming self-defense, though witness accounts paint him as the aggressor in a...
Yeah, he like attacked all these guys. Well, they approached him, but he, you know, of course, if he's going to hit a woman and act like some type of peeping Tom out on a river, potentially, you know, these are all accusations at this point. But this is the story that we have. He tells his group, I'm going to go find the phone. But really, he went back probably, if he is the creep that he potentially could be, he could have been coveting somebody within that group, because at one point they were closer. So he must have been getting into his fantasy or whatever. Possibly, this is what I think happened. Went back, perpetrated a crime, was confronted, assaulted a woman, and then when he was, you know, had his back, you know, against the wall, pulled out his knife, and it was just think about it, how fast it would have to be to stab 5 20-year-old men in the abdomen, killing one, critically wounding 2, and then 2 other who were stabbed. I mean, that takes some type of skill or some type of rage, maybe. I don't know. Like, how do you explain that? To me, this sounds like the MO. Now, I know some of you are watching this and you're like, man, Sleuth, you in the Delphi case, like it's ridiculous. You're reaching. But think about it. This is not too far from Delphi. He kind of fits the description. You know, who knows the connection to any of the other information? We don't know what's going on with any of that. You know, this dude, after attacking 5 young, able-bodied males and 1 woman who was an athlete, he tried to escape down the river, and he joined back up with his group and didn't say a word. To me, that's somebody who's done it before and who's trying to get away. So what if Bridge Guy was hiking with a family, sneaks away in a disguise, commits the murder, changes, joins back with his family? You know what I mean? These are just theories and, you know, thinking out loud. And I do put my foot in my mouth often, but, you know, I just want to get it out there. Maybe the information means something to somebody or fits in somewhere. Who knows?
Quickly escalating confrontation in the river.
The river isn't what caused the thing. It was more the people that were in the incident that happened. So, you know, you just got to move forward.
The owner of River's Edge Campground, one of the 3 tubing operations on the Apple, shared the same sentiment. He didn't want to speak on camera out of respect, but told me about 100,000 tubers go down the Apple each year. This was an aberration, he said, not a reflection of any ongoing safety concerns. Sad and senseless amidst the serenity.
He's praying for the people that are going through this hard time.
There is a community candlelight vigil in Stillwater tomorrow night for Isaac Schuman. Meantime, the suspect remains jailed on $1 million bail. His next court appearance will be a week from Friday.
$1
Cover after
million.
being stabbed on the Apple River over the weekend.
So he needs 10%
The
of that,
suspect
right?
told police he acted in self-defense. The attack killed 17-year-old Isaac Schuman. It's had a lot of people talking. Does Nick Miu have a valid self-defense claim? Lou Raguse has been digging into it today and joins us now live. Lou?
Julie, the details of what led up to the stabbing are complicated, and ultimately it could come down to how much of an opportunity did Nick Miu have to walk away before he began stabbing.
Details of the fatal Apple River stabbing laid out in the criminal complaint paint a
See, Can't Solo Her says, this ain't related to Delphi, bro, even implying that is kind of cringe. I don't see how. I mean, to me, this is like a special circumstance. Even one of the investigators said, this is an important case. Not like he's cheering it on. He's saying this is important, that they caught this guy. He's saying things like this are very extremely important. And that's what they said about the Delphi case. These are two cases that stand out and are extremely similar. To overlook it to somebody like me is cringe, especially when we're looking for somebody who stands out. Whoever killed Abby and Libby, they're not your normal people. They're not going to walk into a bar and completely be normal. There's something different. And this guy was able to be normal. And then at the drop of a dime, he's stabbing 5 people and trying to escape undetected. So maybe it is a bit cringe, but I mean, we're talking within, what is it, a 3-hour drive? And this guy's a traveler. Just saying, it's a possibility.
chaotic picture.
So if I were his lawyer and I were raising a self-defense claim, I would point out the fact that he was being called names, felt intimidated by multiple people, felt like he was surrounded. There's certainly evidence, video evidence of him being pushed, punched, things of that nature.
I'm so sorry.
Defense attorney Eric Nelson successfully represented a client in a high-profile stabbing self-defense case in Wisconsin in 2015. Nelson says the details in the Nick Miu case are more complex. And despite Miu having a self-defense claim, Nelson points out problems with that claim.
The most notable thing, in my opinion, is
in Wyoming.
There are several references to a route of egress or his ability to flee the situation.
The criminal complaint says video evidence shows opportunity for Miu
Yeah,
to leave.
kind of like a
confrontation.
profile.
Nelson says Wisconsin essentially has a duty for someone to retreat, if possible, before using deadly force. There's another detail that would hurt a self-defense claim. A woman involved in the confrontation told police what started the physical assault was Miu punched that woman.
You can't claim self-defense if you're the first aggressor or you're engaged in unlawful conduct that provokes another to assault you.
That punch is apparently not caught on the bystander video, which is not publicly available. Nelson predicts it will be a complicated trial.
Yeah, that
There's
rage.
a clear
That's what I'm
self-defense
talking
claim
about.
established.
Way to
It's
put
not
it,
a
Derek.
perfect one, but it is also, the state's going to have some, problems with their case too.
The suspect's from Minnesota,
Now,
but
Miu
this
still
happened in
apparently
Wisconsin.
has not hired an attorney. There's a short hearing scheduled on Friday to determine what his plans are in that regard. Then the next substantive hearing is scheduled for Friday of next week, Julie.
Just an unbelievable story. Thank you, Lou.
Teresa. Okay, so I hope that's kind of painting a picture of what we're dealing with here. I think I have one more.
The loss of a 17-year-old son and brother who was stabbed to death while out tubing. Isaac Schuman was one of 5 stabbed on the Apple River. His family remembering him as an honor roll student who had a very bright future.
The man accused of killing him appearing in court for the first time today. Nikolai.
Okay, let me ask you guys this question. Okay, let's say that this guy got away. Okay? All they know is that he killed one person, stabbed 4 others, and slipped away. There was no video. Maybe there was a video of him even. But they never caught him. He slipped away and he got away. All they had is a video and a sketch that kind of looked like this guy. What would you think then? Okay, let's say that's the story. The guy got away. All we have is a similar sketch to this and a real grainy video. No other witnesses to who this guy was. Would you think there was a connection then? Or is that still cringe, or you think that's, far-fetched? Let me know in the comments.
Miu faces life in prison if convicted on the first count of murder. And we're getting a clearer picture of what might have led up to the stabbings on the river.
Our Babs Santos joins us now live from the St. Croix County Courthouse with what we have learned so far. Babs?
I'm not sure, Lynn.
Well, lawyers made it clear today this was a completely random encounter between people who did not know each other before Saturday, but still it all obviously ended so terribly.
We're beginning to learn more about what led up to a deadly stabbing spree on Somerset's Apple River that left 17-year-old Isaac Schuman of Stillwater dead and 4 others hospitalized.
2 have been released, 2 remain in the hospital.
Charging documents filed in St. Croix County Court on Monday say 52-year-old Nick Miu of Prior Lake is responsible. He was with his wife and friends tubing on the water Saturday when he split up from the group, he says, to search for a lost cell phone with scuba gear. Miu says he thought another group of tubers had the missing phone and approached them, but video of the altercation turned over to police shows tubers calling him a pedophile, claiming Miu was looking for...
See, this is what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if he was down there, like, thinking he would never get caught, being a little creepster or whatever, maybe trying to touch the girl's leg or something. And then he got caught. And then when he popped up, he was like, oh, what's going on? I'm looking for a cell phone. That's how these pedos are. If you watch these guys that get caught doing the voyeurism, or they get set up on those little sting operations, where they go to meet young girls and there's some dude waiting there to put them on YouTube. They say the same thing. Oh, it's just like a quick story. Oh, I'm here to do this or that, something stupid. Or he could have really been looking for a cell phone. These guys overreacted. So that's kind of why I wanted to, that's the part of the story that I want to go over. I mean, does he seem like a creep that was confronted and basically did what he knew he might have to do anyway? What if that's what he was planning to do anyway, was to attack somebody and scuba dive away, So I don't know. It seems really strange to me and something different. And I think there's something more here. This guy's got some kind of history.
Little girls. Witnesses later told law enforcement he was bothering young people on the tubes before a crowd gathered around him and told him to leave.
And this appears to have been a completely chance encounter.
He had the opportunity to leave, according to Monday's complaint, but instead he hit a woman that had confronted him before exchanging blows with another tuber and falling in the water. When he got up swinging, allegedly stabbing many people around him with a 3-inch blade that, after extensive searches, was later recovered by law enforcement. After this arrest, captured in video shared with Fox 9, in an interview at the St. Croix County Jail, Miu told an investigator it was self-defense, saying a lot of people came on to him, calling him a child molester and insulting him for being in the water with scuba gear. He said everything happened so fast, and I thought that was...
Yeah, Don. Don says, accused of being a ped. Yep. So his story is he's looking for a cell phone. Their story is that he's bothering young people, and basically the men in the group confronted him, and he even had a chance to walk away at some point, I guess. Even his attorney said that. He said, we're going to have a tough case because, he did have an opportunity to walk away. But at the same time, if you're feeling threatened, the last thing you want to do is like back up or turn your back, so who knows?
Was it for me. He feared for his safety, unsure what the people were going to do to him, some of whom he claims had knives.
There are apparently 2 sides to the story.
When law enforcement told him the extent of what he had done, he responded that his whole life was down the tubes, and he was sorry for how this ended up.
So what do you guys think? So did this guy just overreact, or are you kind of seeing what I'm seeing, that he's showing signs of something else? I mean, why did he have the knife? Why did he have the scuba gear? And can they, um, can the witnesses back up the story about the cell phone? I mean, he says that's the reason why he was down there. So his friends should be able to verify that, corroborate the story. Yeah, what are you doing scuba diving near little children, ready to pull a knife? Seems super suspicious. So, I mean, imagine if he did not get caught. Years down the road, people be like, oh, he's some brilliant serial killer. He almost got away. Officers were smart. As soon as they got the video, what they did was they sent it out to all of the lifeguards and the people who were working the tubing, where they have buses and shuttles and stuff that pick them up. They circulated the picture from the video immediately, which is brilliant. And he recognized him, and he just had kind of wiggled his way back into his group, and his group didn't even know. They had no clue. That's so crazy to me. That's just so, suspicious. You think he would come back like all distraught, like, oh my God, what do I do? We need to call an attorney. I just stabbed a bunch of people. It was self-defense, I swear. But no, he slid right back into the group and didn't say a word. That's some serial killer shit. But that's just my untrained, unprofessional opinion. Sneaky weirdo. And why do you have, well, I mean, I can understand maybe like some snorkeling gear, but why do you have scuba gear? Like, why do you need to be down that long? Because I know people snorkel those type of rivers looking for money and lost items, or, arrowheads or Civil War memorabilia or anything like that. I don't think I've ever seen a scuba setup. Wondering if that's like a small tank, maybe a small oxygen tank. Yeah, why do you need to be down there that long? Like, what are you doing? Like, you could stab somebody under the water and nobody would even know. Crazy. Yeah, see, snorkeling, that'd be different. You can throw a snorkel and maybe some flippers in a bag. Boom. You're good to go. You go down, you come up. Everybody sees you. You're like, hey, here I am. Look, I'm going back down, guys. I'm just, I'm looking for a phone. Hey, how are you? But no, this dude's creeping under the water near like little kids and stuff. That's so crazy to me. Like, imagine that you're a father and your daughter's like, Dad, somebody's grabbing my foot. Like, what can you do? What are you supposed to do? Jump out of your tube and like go under the water and like what the hell? It's so creepy to me. If you really break it down and think about what it possibly the situation might be, it's pretty scary. Yeah, he doesn't seem remorseful. He kind of looks like a mob boss. He's just like sitting there like, wait till my attorneys get here. Or, it's something about that guy. All right, so I want to get your guys' opinion on this information here. Let me share my screen with you. So I haven't heard a whole lot about this. I think I saw Graz cover it, and I saw Gray Hughes cover it, and then I saw some information about it on Reddit, but I didn't see too many. And I know that it was originally, the Murder Sheet podcast that broke the information. So I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about it. It's still pretty fresh. Get your opinions. Maybe there's a couple professional opinions out there in regards to why a defense would request that, if it's something common, if it could be indicative of anything. Yeah, it's official, Dave. Myself included. So let's see here. This was August 1st. Motion to continue the final pre-trial conference and jury trial. And this is what the Murder Sheet was kind enough to release for us. Thank you for this. So, I mean, it's textbook. I think the most important thing is like, what's the motivation for something like this? Or is it nothing? They just want more time.
In another case, a judge granted a motion for continuance in Kegan Kline's child exploitation case. Kline's pretrial conference is now April 14th, and his trial is September 26th. Kline is facing 30 charges. He's caught.
So this was the first time they did this.
Investigators in the Delphi murders. They say he used a fake social media profile and was the last person to talk with Libby German online before her murder.
So let's see here. A motion for continuance is a motion that one party files with the court seeking the court move a hearing or other court date. Continuance is what a court may grant to delay proceedings until a later date. Parties in a suit or the judge themselves may wish to have a continuance granted in order to prepare for proceedings. Perhaps the most common reason for continuance is when one side did not have enough time to investigate the case and analyze the evidence. So that is the information that I was able to put together. Get a new attorney? Okay. Yeah, because didn't he say his attorney was court appointed? Is that right? I could be wrong on that one. Oh, yeah, Achi. Yeah, that didn't work out too well for Ron Logan. Damn, Frenchie says Ron Logan said Achi was worthless. I think I remember him saying that. Yeah, that's what it seems like, Wanda. I hope so. Because, I mean, he knows, It's either, if he's involved and it's all tied in with this and they lured the girls, I mean, it's either Kegan's father, which I don't think it is. I think it's his friend. I think it's a couple of his friends. And I think Vegas had something to do with it. I think they tried to profit off of it and they were unable to. Like, who buys weed on Craigslist? It's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. And when he was talking in the transcript about that, he brought it up. They didn't, the investigators didn't go, hey, so who were you meeting in Vegas about the weed? No, at this point, he was investigating them and what they knew. He was like, oh, you saw how I like met the guy, right? How I was like trying to meet this guy about the weed, quote unquote, the weed. What if he was talking about something else? And he was waiting for them to be like, oh, the weed? Or do you mean the snuff film or something along those lines? He was asking questions at that point. And he's like, you guys saw that, right? You saw how I was trying to meet this person and I kept, and it didn't work out. You remember, you guys saw that, right? And they're like, we're not interested in the weed. He's like, okay, good. Me, I would have been like, what? Who were you meeting? How'd you meet this guy? What was his name? Show me. Imagine two drug heads, completely twacked out of their mind. They're sitting in this room. And there's their local drug dealer. He might not have millions of dollars, but he's got tens, maybe $20,000, $30,000 of cash stacked somewhere. And if these people are tweaking and jobless and just trying to get by, imagine if this person was like, hey, I'll give you guys $5,000 each if you go and do this, I mean, we've heard of stranger things happening, right? Like, who does that? You're like guaranteed to get killed and dumped somewhere. And don't ever buy weed on Craigslist. That's about a 99% chance of being abducted and stabbed in the throat. Don't do that. Now, some type of strange snuff film or something along those lines, that might be, maybe the code words or whatever. I don't know. That's just, it's a huge conspiracy, but it's in the transcript. He didn't bring up his drug dealer friend. Now he's talking about him, saying that he's moving, pounds of weed. He's trying to tell law enforcement that friend one has had access to his phone. I don't think you guys realize that he lived with friend one even after his friend moved. So friend one was his neighbor, and friend one moved just up the street with his mother. And Kegan moved in with them. He was just bouncing back and forth from his dad's to there, his dad's to there, dad's to there. Yeah, we can talk about that, Dave. He kind of asked for a lawyer during the interview, and they didn't grant him one. There might be an out there for him. Yeah, I wonder if they violated his rights at that point in time, but I guess they weren't under oath. I don't know if there's something there, but yeah, I wondered the same thing. Because he said, I guess I want a lawyer then. Like, that's the end of the discussion. They kind of seemed like they were riding that thin line there. Friend one? No, I'd rather not. He's not hard to find, though. I know he's facing some felony charges right now, but I don't know what's going on with that case. And he's kind of one of those people, I'm thinking, when this all gets figured out he's going to be one of the people named, him or Tony Kline, you know. But with those being the obvious, you know, persons of interest, we try to focus on other things in case that's circumstantial, you know. You don't want to waste time and just sit back just for Kegan's trial to pass by, and he gets 20 years, no charges for Delphi. Life goes on. People forget about, you know, all these people we're talking about. They forget about the case, you know. Okay, so it's here. Okay, Sleuth. Weed became legal in Nevada in 2017. January, and like all states at first, they run short. So again, why buy weed from a state that is short supply for legal market? Well, he could have had a connection down there. Because it wasn't really, Kegan made it sound like it wasn't for him. It was almost like, hey, I'm going to Las Vegas. Can, you know, all right, well, pick this up for me and I'll give you this amount of money. But I'm thinking it wasn't weed at all. It had something to do, if they're involved, with the murders. You know, it just seems so suspicious. With the ski mask incident, you know, like they're trying to tie up loose ends because it went the ski mask incident, and then the very next day they're driving to Vegas. And imagine if they're in Vegas and all this news breaks. You know, the Delphi murders are like, oh, we know who it is. It was friend one and TK. You know, there's the all points bulletin, you know, most wanted men. Now they're in Vegas, they're out of the state. They can just jump on a plane or get into, you know, probably even get into Mexico pretty easy from there. So that's a good place to kind of lay in wait. That's why when they got back, Kegan was like, you know, I'm fucked. I knew I shouldn't have come back. It's literally quoted in the document saying, I knew I shouldn't have come back. Lorraine Perez says they added a new detective to the Delphi case. Yeah, I saw that. What the hell is the name of that YouTuber? Carbon. He puts out some interesting stuff. But apparently it was some meeting they were having. They were discussing, I guess they had potentially had 4 full-time investigators, and 2 would kind of bounce back and forth wherever they needed them on other cases. But I guess they added another full-time investigator. So I'm curious to know who that is. Does anybody know who that person might be? And I'm assuming that's because Tony Leggett is making other moves. I'm pretty sure he was one of the investigators on that full-time. Amen to that. Yeah, I think the video they're talking about, go check out that video on Carbon. I think it's CAR space BON, if I'm not mistaken. And it just came out like yesterday or the day before. It's pretty new. Yeah, that shit don't make any sense. If you're going there to make like $5,000 or something, I think that's what he said, like thousands of dollars, you know? So that means he's picking up a bunch of pounds. So if he's picking up, you know, 10, 15 pounds of weed, you're not going to go on Craigslist. you're going to already know the person. You know what I mean? So stupid. Now, if you're trying to sell some type of filthy video and you're using some type of code words, now you may go on Craigslist. What's up, art critic? All right, guys, we have about 8 more minutes. Dave says, Sleuth, why do you think DC has been pretty consistent with, we know you are watching us and you want to know what we know, and someday you will? Because he probably knows that he's inserting himself in some way or the other. Maybe behind the scenes, maybe in social media. Maybe the information they have leads them to believe they may already have identified the killer. I don't know. Yeah, and I also wanted to talk about CD's video that he put out. I think it was this morning, where Kim Riley was kind of explaining, and no disrespect to Kim Riley, but I think they pulled him back and put Doug Carter in because he has foot in the mouth syndrome like I do. Like, he went out there and he's just saying too much. You know, it's like, oh, I'm not going to say anything, but and then he starts giving details without realizing it. You know, he's like dry snitching, so to speak. So he kind of talks about and explains what he saw in that video and how one person was affected more than the other. So that made me kind of painted a picture of what happened in a 43 second video. So it's down the hill. The girls run. One of them is attacked right then and there. I'm thinking right in the water. And that's most likely whoever was holding the phone. Because I think the reason why it was such a short video is because it got wet and that was that. And then the Patty's always saying, well, they didn't leave each other's side. So that's most likely Abby right there, you know, freaking out in shock right on the other side of the creek, or, you know, something along those lines. That's the picture that Tobe and Kim Riley paint, is that something was captured on there. It sounds like part of the attack. So when we say release the video, we don't need that part. We don't need to see that. I would like to see the interaction between the girls and the guy on the bridge, from the moment they start filming up until the point where they head down. No, Blind Squirrel, I haven't. I just don't quite understand what's happening with the image. Because that's kind of what our brain does with pareidolia, you know? Kind of just morphs it in our brain. Yep, so many stories. Yeah, the way Kim Riley made it sound, like it was horrible. Like, you can basically see the one of them. It sounds like one of the attacks was on the video, on Libby's video, on her phone, at least recorded. Maybe there's just something that was caught on there. But there's some information also that Burston he mentioned that there was some really good information that's on that video. So I'm wondering, yeah, I'm really curious to know what that is. Is it a possible, maybe that's where they got the young looking sketch? Maybe a reflection somehow? I'm just very curious about that. Yeah, it's almost like they would prepare, like they wouldn't drink alcohol. But then you have the other killer who drinks the alcohol, um, to get that courage. That liquid courage. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, technically they only said that it was a 43-second video. They didn't talk really about how they recovered it. That's a good point. And those things matter. "43 seconds." 43 seconds is a long time. And it seems more like the guy. So I'm wondering if, okay, let's say there's a group underneath the bridge. They look up, they see the girls up on the bridge. One of them comes up to the bridge, passes the girls, maybe even makes a comment to them, walks maybe halfway, looks around, okay, there's nobody around, turns around, he's like, okay, I'm going to bring these girls down, to the people that I'm with down the bridge. So when they get down, once they get down the bridge, maybe on the video there's other perpetrators there who are wearing masks, and that's what causes the girls to run. And maybe that's what Burston says, when you're like making a movie, you don't see what's going on the left and you don't see what's going on the right. I'm wondering if they didn't mention them because they couldn't be identified anyway. Just thinking out loud. All right, guys, we're going to hang out for another 5 minutes, and then I got to get out of here. Thanks, Marlo. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, the video may be 43 seconds, but the continued audio. But I mean, technically, if it's filming in her pocket, that's still video, you know what I mean? There's just nothing on. There just wouldn't be anything on it. Unless law enforcement wasn't being that critical, Thanks, Wanda. Thanks, Derek. Thanks for your support, man. I appreciate it. You're always welcome anytime on my channel, for sure. Stand up guy. Oh, no worries. All right, guys, you have a great rest of your day. I'm sure I'll catch you guys later. Thanks a lot for joining me. Take care.